Today, I am going to show you our 4.5 quart stainless steel nonstick saute pan. So this is, and I keep hitting my my stove. I'm going to light it here in a minute. So this is our 4.5 quart pan. Um, we we use these stainless steel nonstick pans all the time. It comes from a full line. We have an 8.5 inch skillet, a 10 inch skillet, 12 inch skillet, a wok, and a 3 quart saucepan. But this pan is only available while supplies last. So I wanted to show it because I think it's such an amazing pan. I love the high sides. It has this hex shape pattern on it, that it's a grid that allows you to sear foods and then make a fond so that you can use it for sauces and gravies. You can use metal tools in it. I'm going to be using bamboo today, but you can use metal. You can use any tool. It does not have rivets, as you can see, so it doesn't collect food, which makes it more difficult to clean. This pan is heat safe in the oven to 450 degrees, and the lid that comes with it is safe to 400 degrees. So obviously hotter than 400, you're not going to put the lid on. It is dishwasher safe. My preference is to wash this one by hand. It is so easy and fast, but I like to wash it by hand and then put a little bit of oil in it to just kind of keep it glistening and in good shape. And then I always wash my lids in the dishwasher because they come out. I don't dry as neatly and cleanly as the dishwasher does, so they come out looking really pretty and clear. And like I said, it's part of a collection, but this is only available while supplies last. So if you're interested in this pan, now is the time to get it. So like I said, I'm going to be making a um, taco chili mac. Maybe I didn't say that, but that's what I'm making for dinner tonight. But I'll start with, it's a tablespoon of, calls for vegetable oil, but I mostly always use olive oil. So let me turn on my burner. Okay. And then I'm going to start with, I've got onions, and I've got one medium onion, and then it called for red pepper, but I didn't have a fresh one, and I did have some roasted red pepper. So I'm going to use in the jar. So I'm just going to use that. And I like roasted red pepper anyway, so I think that'll make a nice flavor. So just saute this for 3 to 5 minutes. Let me make sure. Yeah, this is the first time I've made this recipe, so I thought it would be a fun one to try. And I like that it has one of our seasonings. I'm going to use it's the everything taco seasoning, and and it's after I do this, I'm going to do, it'll be ground beef. It calls for a pound. I had some pound and a half in the freezer that I thawed. So, and it's almost thawed, but not quite. But it'll work well. So anyway, so this pan is so easy to use. I like the handles. I like that it can go straight in the oven. And I like how it cooks. We use it for eggs. We use it for, gosh, it's usually these pans, and this one in our 10-inch pan, they just sit on our stove. So they're here all the time, and that's our kind of our go-to. Um, the other pans are great too, but this one is just the one we use all the time. Um, I've only had this pan for a little while. And so I've only cooked a couple of things, but oh my gosh, I just love it. I love the size. I love the fact that I can, get a little vigorous with my stirring, and um, it's not going to fly out on my stove. I just remodeled my kitchen last year, so I'm still trying to be protective of all of my of my appliances. So, okay, so I'm going to do that. And then here is my ground beef that is still slightly frozen, but it won't take long. And I'm going to use the mix and chop. So, and I'm going to assume that you have one of these. If you don't, you should. This is our most sold product in our catalog. It's been in the catalog for quite a long time. But and we have another it's a mix and chop spatula too, that you can. I'll show you. Got it right here. And both of them have these beveled edges that you can see, and so it makes kind of chopping easy in a pan. So and this one you can use to lift things. And I don't need to do that for this particular recipe, so I'm just using the regular mix and chop. So it's already, it was actually a little bit, it had been in the freezer a little bit longer than it should have been. But I think it's going to come out great because there's so many other flavors in here that I think it won't make a difference at all. Okay, I am finishing this recipe, the taco chili mac, and I'm using the mix and chop as I said. And the great thing about the bevel is how it cuts down into the ground beef. You can use it with sausage. You can use this product with so many different things. I've actually used it to decorate pies, pie crust. It's a pretty shape. So there you can see it. You can use it to make chicken salad, egg salad, because it chops the eggs and mixes at the same time. So anyway, this is almost there. It was a little bit too frozen. I forgot to set it out early this morning so it would thaw. But it's getting there, and we'll have browned meat very shortly. And I'm doing a really good job of pushing the button on here to light my burner, which is already lit. I'm leaning over here. I think I'll pull this a little closer to me. So then after I do this, I'm going to add the taco seasoning. And I need to look at the recipe. Stir in some black beans and tomato sauce, beef broth, and milk. I need 2.5 cups of beef broth, which I discovered that I didn't have any beef broth. So instead, I'm going to use water and some beef powder. So that will have to work for that. Sometimes you just gotta make do. Certain things, as you cook over time, you learn that you can do, that you can make substitutions for. And then there are other times you have to just run to the store or send your husband, which they don't always like that. But most of the time they're pretty good about it, at least mine is. All right, this is taking a while. Sorry about that. I think I'll pause and we'll come back to it in just a minute. Okay, it's almost all the way browned and broken up into small pieces, which I hate things that you make with ground beef that have big chunks of ground beef in them. I think it's just, it doesn't taste as good because you don't mix the flavors as well. So, all right. All right, I'm adding the taco seasoning, and like I said, this is actually one of our newer seasonings, Everything Taco. We also have Everything Bagel and Everything Pizza. So, and you can buy them in a set. But this is the taco, and so I'm just going to mix this in while the ground beef continues to brown. It's still just a little bit pink. We want it all the way brown. And then after that, I'm going to, so this is my pretend beef broth, and this is one of our measuring cups. This one is great because you can see, I think it's a measure all. No, this is, I can never remember the names of the products. That's terrible. But anyway, you can see the measurements from the inside, which is really helpful, instead of having to lift it up and look on the side. And of course, this is one of our tiny whisks, which is handy for certain sizes of things that you're making. So this looks just about done. I'm going to put a little more. I have a little extra meat than the recipe calls for, so I'm going to put more than a tablespoon. That's probably closer to a tablespoon and a half now, or maybe even closer to 2 tablespoons, just to give it that more taco flavor. And I'm going to go more. There, that should do it. So definitely at least 2 tablespoons. We like flavor. All right, so I have a can of black beans that I've rinsed and drained, and calls for 15 ounces of tomato sauce, and I have the smaller cans, so it's 2 of these. And the beef broth and the milk. So put the beef broth in. And a cup of milk. And it calls for 8 ounces of macaroni, elbow macaroni, and this is being stubborn. Of course, this is a 16-ounce box, so I'll use half the box. Hi, Lizzie B. It's my pup. All right, so about half of this box, and that's good. Stir it in, and I believe I need it to boil for about 10 minutes. So we'll bring it to a boil and let it do that for 10 minutes. And I'll be back. Well, I forgot to hit the record button on the last little piece that I did, but I'll tell you what I did. So the mixture, the taco chili the macaroni was all cooked. I added a cup of cheese, cheddar cheese, mixed that in, and then in this bowl, I added 2 cups of crushed tortilla chips, a cup of cheddar cheese, and 2 teaspoons of taco seasoning. And I mixed all that first cup of cheese in, and then I sprinkled this on top, and I put it in the oven, and it stays in for 6 to 8 minutes, and then it'll be dinner. The last thing I'm going to do is Make mix sour cream, milk, and taco seasoning, and drizzle that on top. And if you like cilantro, you can add that as well. So that's taco chili mac.